You ever get that feeling, like the air's a little too still, the room's too quiet, like something's watching, but you can't see it? That twitch in your spine, the one you ignore, that's not paranoia, sweetheart, that's instinct. And lately, it's been screaming, hasn't it? Not just a whisper this time. A full-blown siren in the back of your mind saying, get ready. But no one listens. They laugh. They scroll. They sip their coffee and pretend everything's fine while the sky's turning red behind them. You ever wonder why that little voice in your head gets louder when everything looks quiet on the outside? Why your skin starts crawling when the room's full of smiling faces? Let me let you in on a dirty little secret: your instincts. They don't lie. They don't care about manners or what's trending, or if everybody else is nodding along like programmed mannequins. No, your instincts are the only part of you that hasn't been tamed, tranquilized, or tricked into submission. And lately, they've been screaming. You feel it when you walk into a place that looks fine but feels off. When someone talks a little too smooth, laughs a little too forced, and your stomach tightens like it's trying to crawl away. But what do? You ignore it. You tell yourself, stop being dramatic. You smile. You shake hands. You play the role. Meanwhile, the inner siren's going full blast, and you're standing there pretending it's just background noise. You've been taught to distrust your instincts. You are conditioned like a good little puppet, told that if you can't explain it, it's not real. That gut feelings are for the weak, for the paranoid, for the broken. So instead of listening, you wait for permission, for proof, for someone in a suit to tell you, yes, something is wrong. But by the time they do, the damage is done, and you're left holding pieces that used to be your peace of mind. Funny, isn't it? We put locks on our doors, alarms on our cars, but when the warning light starts flashing inside our own heads, we ignore it. Why? Because it's inconvenient, because fear makes people uncomfortable. And you're not supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to be normal, quiet, agreeable. But what if normal is the real danger? What if comfort is the trap? Think about how many times your instincts tried to save you. From people, from places, from deals that looked sweet but stank of poison. And each time you looked the other way. You overrode your own alarm system. Why? Because you didn't want to look crazy, didn't want to make crazy. So you played along, and then you paid the price. You were never supposed to ignore that voice. That voice is ancient, primal. It comes from a time before fake friends and fine print. It's the part of you that survives storms and betrayals, knives in the back and traps dressed up like blessings. And when it gets loud, that means something's moving, something's shifting, something's coming, and you know it. Even if you can't explain it, even if no one else sees it yet, they call it overreacting. They say you're just being negative, as if preparing for impact is a personality flaw, as if staying alert is something to be ashamed of. But here's what they don't want you to realize: people who listen to their instincts don't freeze when the chaos starts. They move, they adapt, they survive. While everyone else is still asking, wait, is this really happening? The system doesn't like instinct. It can't predict instinct, can't control it. Because instinct doesn't wait for permission. It acts, it moves. It doesn't care about optics or PR. It's raw, it's real. And when it speaks, you'd better listen. Because it's not guessing, it's remembering. It remembers patterns, energy, behavior, things your eyes haven't caught yet, but your soul has. You ever see someone walk away from a situation, and later you find out it all went to hell? You call them lucky. They weren't lucky. They were listening while you were reasoning. They moved when the air got heavy, when the birds stopped singing, when the light felt wrong on their skin. They didn't need proof. They had instinct. That's not luck. That's awareness. There's something in the atmosphere now, something people can't quite name. So they joke, they distract. They keep scrolling, but the ones who feel it, they've gone quiet. They've pulled back. They're preparing, not performing. Because deep down they know when the music changes, the dance is about to end. And when your instincts scream like this, it's not for fun. It's not some quirky personality quirk. It's the last line of defense before something breaks through that can't be undone. Do you think your instincts are the problem? No, the problem is you stop listening. You let noise drown out the signal. You let logic talk you out of what your spirit already saw. But now the voice is back, louder than ever, and it's not going away. Because something's wrong. Something's close. And if you're smart, you won't ask for proof this time. You'll just move. They never tell you what a real warning sounds like. Not in the movies, not in school, not in those glossy little pamphlets pretending to care. No sirens, no thunder from the sky, no dramatic monologue with tears and violins. No real warnings don't come dressed for attention. They slip in quietly, like a whisper behind your eyeballs, like a bad taste in your mouth that won't go away no matter how much you smile. And the funniest part, they're never there to scare you. They show up to prepare you. But you gotta be awake to catch and see. When something's about to fall, the first noise isn't the crash, it's the creak, the tension, the shudder. That's the warning. Not meant to make you panic, but to snap you out of your lullaby. To jolt you from that sweet little fantasy world you built on routines and reruns and recycled motivational quotes. People think being warned is about fear. It's not. It's about awareness. And awareness. Now that's a terrifying thing in a world full of sleepwalkers. They think danger comes dressed in black with glowing red eyes. No, danger smiles, danger fits in. Danger shows up on time and shakes your hand and tells you exactly what you want to hear. And while you're basking in the illusion, while you're laughing at the wrong jokes and ignoring the poor, in your wrong, the pit in your stomach, the warning's right there. Not yelling, not begging, just humming, waiting for you to tune in, but most people don't want to prepare. That takes effort. That takes courage. They want to be rescued. They want to close their eyes and have a hero show up in the third act with a cape and a plan. Because preparing, that means accepting that things might go wrong, that the storm is coming, that you're not as safe, as untouchable as you pretend to be, and that kind of truth burns. You know what happens when people ignore the warning. They build castles on sand. They fall in love with ticking time bombs. They laugh while the ground cracks underneath them. And then when it all goes boom, they act surprised. Why didn't someone tell me? Oh, someone did, but it wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it wasn't comfortable. So they turned up the volume on their playlists and tuned it out. And the thing about warnings, they don't wait for applause. They don't knock twice. You get one, maybe two if you're lucky. Then it's go time. No countdown. No narrator explaining the stakes. Just the sudden realization that you should have been listening when it was quiet. That's the cruel little joke, isn't it? The louder the chaos, the quieter the truth becomes. You ever notice how the animals know first? The birds go silent. The dogs start pacing. The insects disappear. No one sends them a memo. They feel it. They don't argue with it. They move. But you get a funny dream, a weird coincidence, a gut punch of dread, and what do? You Google it. You ask strangers online if it means anything. You bury it under logic and call it being mature. Warnings aren't meant to soothe you. They don't come wrapped in comfort. They come to light a match in your mind. To make you uncomfortable enough to move, to change direction, to break the damn routine that's leading you straight into the fire. But if you keep waiting for a polite announcement, if you keep expecting the universe to write it in glitter pens and neon lights, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it because real warnings don't beg for your attention. They assume you're smart enough to listen. They knock once and they leave. And the ones who hear it, they don't panic. They prepare. They stop pretending, they sharpen their edges, they put on the armor and check the exits and brace themselves, not out of fear, but because they're not interested in being victims. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being awake. About realizing that danger doesn't always roar. Sometimes it sighs. Sometimes it smells like perfume. Sometimes it hands you a drink and smiles just a little too wide. And while everyone else is admiring the decor, you feel the temperature drop. You feel the chill creeping in, and instead of sitting there, grinning like a fool, you move. That's what a warning is. Not a scare tactic. Not a curse. A gift. A crooked, blood-stained gift wrapped in instinct and whispers. And it's not meant to scare you into hiding. It's meant to wake you up before the lights go out. Comfort, what a charming little illusion. A velvet coffin lined with soft pillows and lullabies. It tells you relax. Everything's fine, while the walls are already cracking and the floorboards are whispering secrets. You sit there wrapped in it like a warm blanket soaked in gasoline, and you don't even smell the smoke. That's the trick. That's how it gets you. Not with fangs and fire, but with silence and softness. You ever notice how comfort never asks questions? It just feeds you routines, habits, little distractions that feel good but leave you hollow. You wake up, you scroll, you eat, you smile at the same dull faces and call it life. But somewhere deep inside, something's rattling the cage. A whisper behind the smile, a twitch in your eye when the lights flicker. You feel it, but you ignore it because comfort's got its claws in you. It says, don't worry, nothing's wrong. And you believe it. You know what comfort really is? A disguise. A costume danger wears to sneak past your defenses, because fear is obvious, panic you can see. But comfort, oh, comfort is a shapeshifter. It strokes your ego, tucks you in, tells you you're special while it ties your hands behind your back. It's the devil in designer shoes telling you to relax while the ceiling caves in. And the best part, you thank it. You protect it. You fight anyone who tries to take it away. Danger doesn't kick in your door anymore. It doesn't need to. It just sends you a screen, a steady paycheck, maybe a kiss on the forehead, and says, she. Meanwhile, your fire burns out one quiet ember at a time. You lose your edge, your hunger, your instincts. You forget how to run, how to fight, how to feel that sharp, electric urgency that used to keep you alive. Comfort kills it, smothers it with soft hands and easy answers. You think this world is falling apart. No, it's been falling apart for a while now. The only reason it still looks together is because everyone's too comfortable to scream, too drugged by their own routines to care. They're numb. They've mistaken sedation for peace. And when something finally cracks through the facade, they act surprised. But everything felt fine. Of course it did. That's how it was designed. See, comfort isn't your friend. It's a con. A trick played on the brave. The moment you settle, you surrender. The moment you relax, you rot. The moment you say, this is good enough, that's when the wolves start circling. And the most delicious prey, the ones who stopped looking over their shoulders, the ones who thought danger was gone just because it hadn't bit them yet. You think preparation is paranoia. No, paranoia is reacting too late. Preparation is knowing comfort lies. It's building your fire when the weather's still warm. It's sharpening your mind when the world tells you to unwind. Because you know something the rest don't. You know the lull means the strike is near. You know when they say peace, it's because they're hiding the war. Every empire that fell was comfy. Every fool who lost everything said the same thing right before it happened. But everything was going so well. That's the setup. That's the magic trick. Make you think you're safe, then pull the rug out and laugh while you scramble. And the audience, oh, they love it. They call it fate. They say that's life. But you know better, don't you? You don't need another bedtime story. You need an alarm, a slap, a siren, something to remind you that soft things can strangle, that still water can drown, that peace can be a prison with golden bars and a voice that sings lullabies while it poisons your drink. You need to stop confusing easy with safe, because what's easy now, it'll cost you later. And that cost, that's the part they never tell you about comfort. Makes you slow, soft, predictable. And when you're predictable, you're prey. You think you're winning, but you're just getting fattened up, sitting in the sun while the trapdoor opens under your feet. The only ones who survive what's coming. The ones who never let comfort put them to sleep. The ones who feel the shift before it's spoken. The ones who stay sharp while the rest are snoring in silk sheets. So go ahead, turn up the volume, pour another drink, wrap yourself in all that false calm. But don't say you weren't warned. Don't say nobody told you the enemy wasn't outside the gate, it was in the velvet. In the silence, in that sweet, slow sigh of "I'm fine." That was the disguise. That was the first strike. That was how it got in without making a sound. You ever feel like you're being watched? Not by cameras, not by people, but by something older, something quiet. Like the air itself is holding its breath, just waiting for you to trip over something you can't see. That little itch at the back of your mind. That prickle in your gut that says something's wrong, even when everything looks normal. That's not paranoia. That's instinct trying to save your life, but no one listens to instinct anymore. They trade it for policies, for filters, for trend reports. The voice inside goes run and you go, let me check my notifications first. That little siren in your head screams and you drown it with a podcast. You laugh it off. You label it anxiety. You call it irrational. You medicate it into submission. And in doing so, you mute the only real warning system you've got left. The danger doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It doesn't barge through the front door anymore. It seeps. It creeps. It leaks into the cracks of your comfort, hides in the silence of your daily routine. The news won't cover it. Your friends won't notice it. Because it's not made for them to see. It's tailored for you. It speaks your name in the spaces between words. And it waits. Oh, it waits so patiently because it knows you'll dismiss it. Most people, do you know what's funny? When something truly sinister is around, everything else gets too quiet. Like even the world holds its tongue. Birds stop chirping, time slows, the air feels thick, your chest tightens and you don't know why. But still you sit there, still you scroll, still you lie to yourself, it's nothing. But your body knows, your soul knows, it's screaming behind your eyes. But fear's out of style. We label it weakness, call it dramatic, we wear numbness like armor. And that's exactly what it wants. For you to feel silly. For you to doubt your own radar. Because once you stop trusting yourself, you start relying on the system and the system. Oh, it's got plenty of distractions to keep you blind, pretty lights, empty words, false choices. It's all designed to keep you busy while the shadows grow teeth. There's a reason that feeling creeps in when you're alone. When the mask slips. When there's no audience to perform for. That's when you feel it most, isn't it? In the stillness. When the world stops humming and all that's left is you. That little voice whispering something is near. You don't know what it is, but you know it's not friendly. You can't prove it, but you feel it. And the longer you pretend you don't, the closer it gets. This isn't about superstition. This isn't about angels and demons. This is about awareness. The kind that burns. The kind that makes your skin crawl not because it's wrong, but because it's too right. The truth has sharp teeth, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So most people, they close their eyes. They cover their ears. They smile wider and talk louder and surround themselves with more noise so they never have to hear that one soft whisper telling them the truth. People ask, why would something dangerous come for me? Oh, sweetheart, why wouldn't it? You're asleep. You're unarmed. You're walking through the woods whistling nursery rhymes while something is watching from the trees. It doesn't come for the strong. It comes for the unaware. And right now, most of the world is sleepwalking in broad daylight. They think protection is about locks and passwords and laws. No, real protection. It starts in your gut. It's the moment you stop laughing when everyone else is still smiling. The moment your hand tightens around the edge of the table because you felt something shift. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's a flicker. A whisper. A wrong note in a perfect song. The question is, what do you do when you hear it? Do you keep dancing? Do you tell yourself it's nothing? Or do you brace? Do you listen? Do you sharpen the edges of your mind like knives and scan the room like your life depends on it? Because maybe, just maybe it does. The scariest part of danger isn't its arrival. It's the moment before. The part where you know, but you still have time to ignore it. That's the real test. That's the twisted little game. Not whether you can survive, but whether you'll see it in time. And most don't. Not because they're blind, but because they're too afraid to look. You ever watch someone build a life out of matchsticks? Proud little towers made of paper and spit, held together by belief and borrowed time. They polish it, paint it, give it names like success, security, stability. But deep down they know it's flammable. They know one wrong spark, just one, and the whole thing goes up in flames. But instead of stepping back, instead of preparing, they double down. They invite the fire in and call it warmth. People don't want truth. They want comfort with a little drama sprinkled on top. Something to make the show feel real, but not too real. Truth is ugly. It's loud. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't wear makeup or play nice. So when truth starts knocking, what do? Turn up the music. Draw the curtains. Pretend it's not there. They'll call it fake news. Call it a vibe shift. Call it whatever buzzword makes them feel like they're still in control. But deep down, in the parts they don't post about, they know you can feel it, can't you? The shift. Like the air is different, thicker, heavier. Like the background hum of the world got just a little darker, but no one else seems to notice. Or maybe they do, but they're pretending not to. That's the thing about people, they're great actors. They can lie to themselves better than any magician could. And they applaud themselves for it. They wear denial like a designer suit. But suits burn, baby. Just like everything else you ever try warning someone who's not ready to hear it. It's like speaking in a different language. They hear your words, but their brain translates it into static. They smile and nod and then go right back to sleepwalking. It's not ignorance. It's willful blindness. Because seeing the truth, that would require action. It would mean facing fear of breaking patterns, letting go of the illusion. And that's scarier than the threat itself. Most people don't want to be safe. They want to feel safe. Big difference. Feeling safe is cheap. Just close your eyes and tell yourself a pretty little story. But being safe, that takes work. That takes sacrifice. That takes letting go of the lullaby and facing the growl in the dark. No one wants to do that. They'd rather decorate the cell than break out of it. You know what real danger looks like? It looks like nothing. That's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't come dressed in blood and thunder anymore. It comes in smiles, in routines, in things that feel normal. It's the slow drift, not the sudden crash. That's how people get caught. Not with a bang, but with silence. So here we are. The water's rising. The cracks are spreading. And what are they doing? Posting selfies, arguing about nonsense, clinging to their sand castles while the tide laughs in their face. They've got every warning in the world blinking in neon, and still they look the other way. Because to admit it's real would mean they're not ready. And being unready, that's the last thing anyone wants to confess, but the clock doesn't care. The storm doesn't wait. You don't get to pause reality just because you're not emotionally available for it. You don't get a time out from consequence. That's the joke, right? Thinking you can schedule survival around your calendar. Thinking the chaos will knock politely before it kicks the door and you see it. That's why you're here. You felt it before the rest. That weird pressure behind your eyes, that feeling that something's circling just outside your view. You've been laughing less, sleeping less. Not because you're weak, but because your senses are waking up. And that's your warning. That's your edge. That's the crack in the illusion where the light starts leaking and you think this is about fear. No, fear is fuel. It wakes you up. This is about awareness, the kind of awareness that ruins ignorance forever. Once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Once you see it, everything changes. The food tastes different. The people sound hollow. The world feels tilted. Because it is. And you're finally seeing it for what it is, not what you were told to believe.